Good morning to you all. I'm Tony De Palma from ACCA Software. We're based in Italy. We're a software company. And I'm in charge of the product localization team for the English-speaking markets. This morning I'd like to guide you through a presentation of our usBIM.geotwin solution. usBIM.geotwin is basically a dynamic integration between Esri's ArcGIS platform and ACCA Software's CDE, the usBIM platform CDE solution. We're going to go through a quick presentation just to show you the basic features of this dynamic integration between the two worlds of BIM and, of course, of GIS. Let's see if this starts. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so here we have the dynamic integration, as I was saying, between the world of BIM and the world of GIS. Here we're having a look at the usBIM platform side of things, where you can see this residential building. It's not just a 3D representation of the building itself, it's composed of different federated models. So we have the architectural, the MEP systems, and also the structural models here. So we can go in and interrogate the model. We can have a look at all of the IFC properties. And here we're having a look at the very same configuration of these buildings. We have copied 4 of these into one geolocated space on the GIS map. So we have these 16 different models, all coexisting on the same territorial map. And we have full control over all of the assets, all of the entities contained within these IFC BIM models. As you can see on the right-hand side, we can inspect the property sets, the attributes, and so on. Here we have full control also, of course, of the different levels of transparency. We can change the color mapping to gain even further details and better insights as to the contents of these BIM models, of course. This dynamic integration, of course, incorporates all of the features of the ArcGIS environment too. So we can inspect also the BIM model together with the territorial scale, detail, and different kinds of insights. Let's jump to a different site because we're talking about GIS maps. So we have 2,000 models here, the city of Barcelona. Most of these were low detailed models, but because we're talking about the BIM process behind the whole system, of course, many collaborators could be replacing these models with much more higher level of detailed models. And in fact, here you can see if we jump into a certain area of the city of Barcelona, we can concentrate on many of the different details. For instance, this residential building, where the level of detail is much more high, as you can see. Here we have some further insights, for instance, regarding the electrical switch panel. So we can interrogate the switch panel and gather all of the information on its electrical characteristics, or maybe the fire safety components here on the rooftop. So here we have also the view of all of the fire safety components composing this building. Let's jump out to another site, to the heritage site in Morocco, El Jahida. Here we have, again, another example of federations of different kinds of resources, textured meshes, IFC models, and point clouds. These can all be federated into a single view, and we have control over the different layers of information. Here we have the IFC model, which can, of course, be, therefore, interrogated. Another case study. If we move over to the city of Milan, this was an important project that we conducted. Also, you can see these high-level meshed textures and IFC models. But these aren't just simple 3D models. These are the true replica, the true digital twin of the actual buildings there. We can run a sunlight simulation because, of course, we're talking about georeference models, so we have a precise indication of the sunlight. And we can dive right inside the buildings also to gain even further insights. Football stadium, this is a 2.2 billion point cloud cluster of the stadium of Milan. It's a 50 gigabyte point cloud file. But these, again, as I was saying, they're just not simple representations of the different kinds of assets that we can place georeference on the map. These also interact, so it means that we can run measurements, we can do a section plane across the different models, therefore gaining even more information from the BIM digital twins. In this particular case, we're talking about geospatial digital twins. Collaboration is also one of the core features of our usBIM platform. In fact, we've been pushing the capabilities of visualization to also enhance the experience with VR. So you can wear your headsets and you simply use this cloud-based platform. This is the ACCA software headquarters based in Italy. Here we can just give you an example of how we can expand our level of detail down to the MEP systems. And of course, if we're talking about facility maintenance, you may understand the great importance of being able to access all of the asset data, the maintenance plan issues by simply scanning the QR code. An operator can retrieve all of the information coming from the design phase. He can access documentation, which is also stored in the BIM side of things and therefore integrated within GIS. So we can retrieve important information coming from the manufacturer data sheets, for instance, in order to be able to carry out the maintenance work. When we're talking about collaboration, of course, within the BIM process, we may have people working on the BIM side of things, other people working on the GIS side of things. So if we go back into, for instance, the collaboration workflow, there could be some of our BIM specialists which are working on updating these BIM models and therefore needing to add, for instance, another building to this residential site. A simple drag and drop allows me to bring in the new geometry and update the model. This is in the BIM side of things. This is in the platform. And you can see that whoever's working in the GIS side of things can access the updated version now. So he doesn't need to worry about accessing the latest version of data because it's already been dealt with in the CDE. Of course, we can access the GIS layers of information at a territorial scale. So we have this direct connection with the ArcGIS side of things. And as I was saying, more importantly, the aspect of the different life cycles of a building, including facility management, also allow me to manage facility management and therefore access this very important information. Here we can see the visual control as we click on the different rooms and areas within this shopping mall. We can access all of the different maintenance plans and the checklist of information referring to the different interventions that need to be carried out. Here we have a HVAC component here on the roof. We can see who has to carry out certain operations. We can access the documentation. We can test the ticket statuses and therefore run a complete and comprehensive workflow within the BIM and GIS environment altogether. Of course, the OpenBIM methodology here is very important, and that's why we have been focusing strongly on the dissemination of the IFC file format. We also talk a lot about infrastructure. I think we have a couple of examples also showing infrastructure. Here we have the Naples Central Railway Station. It's composed of 56 different model types, all federated into a single view. And of course, the operator can therefore access each of these different levels of detail and the different disciplines. Again, we have another example of accessing the data sheets, for instance, for these HVAC terminals. And you can see all of the documentation is strictly connected up to the objects present on the BIM model. As I was saying, for infrastructure, especially for aging infrastructure, especially in Europe, we need to monitor our infrastructure very closely. And this is where IoT becomes a fundamental aspect, especially when it's linked up to the BIM model. We have the digital twin representation here, and we have connected different kinds of sensors, especially mechanical stress sensors, for instance, which are connected via the usBIM CDE. And you can see that each of those sensors is connected up to a particular component of the BIM, a particular structural member of the BIM model. And you can see that as we click on each of these different components, we also see the relevant reading on the right-hand side in the inspector, where we can see those important data, all of the different metrics, which maybe we can use as a trigger to notify important maintenance operations that need to be carried out. Here we have another road example. This was created with the 4.3 version of IFC. ACCA software has been very, very active with Building Smart to bring forward the technical tables inherent to 4.3. And as you can see here, we have all of the details referring to this comprehensive IFC model of the road section. Again, another example of infrastructure, important infrastructure, let's say digital twins. In the case of tunneling, here you can see IFC version 4. This again is very important in terms of our digital twin representations at a territorial level, and you can see the level of detail that we have achieved with this structural model of this tunnel. And again, we can keep control of the visualization, concentrating on particular elements and so on. Another example here of pushing the boundaries of typical visualization, just in case we want to gather insights before even going to the actual infrastructure, we can do so again using VR and do some inspections directly on the digital twin before even going to the construction site. This is another important case study that we conducted with the Terna power distribution company in Italy, and you can see this power plant with all of the different details referring to the transformation systems in this substation. So we are really talking about infrastructure at a territorial level with full control from both GIS and BIM environments in one single solution. Railways, another important topic. Here we have a combination of IFC models and of course of the point cloud, deriving from typical point cloud acquisitions on site. And again, we have all of the information both from the GIS side and the BIM side of things. I think I'm running out of time, but I hope that I can manage to fit in the final comments on this section here with our e-permit workflow, where we can gain particular information referring to, for instance, energy performance certificates on buildings, or even collaborative workflows. Because we're talking about a cloud-based solution, we can have different users which are collaborating on the same environment, and we can populate the views with avatars of our own specialistic collaborators in one single environment, where each and every stakeholder can of course be part of the collaborative workflow, and of course within the BIM methodology. So we can assume that one user is setting up the view for everybody else, as you can see here, and we're all chatting, we're all sending messages and gaining information on particular decision-making processes within the OpenBIM methodology. And for instance, maybe somebody needed to do a modification directly on the IFC, and we allow this directly in cloud using the usBIM editor, which is again part of the usBIM cloud-based BIM management system, composed of over 35 different applications. 15 are provided for free, and we also provide 10 gigabytes of free storage. But not only that, we also allow the user to modify the BIM model. Therefore, you have a direct connection to the usBIM library, where you can bring in extra assets, extra models, and update the BIM model directly in cloud without having to go back to the natural way of working, which would be back to the BIM authoring solution. So everybody can continue to use their normal BIM authoring solutions, whether it's Revit, whether it's ArchiCAD, or whether it's our own software solutions such as Edificious. You can all continue to do so, but share in the cloud in IFC. And that is what the true collaborative workflow means, because it's all based on the BIM methodology, in particular on the OpenBIM methodology. Just a final note, I'm sorry I'm taking away your time, Thomas. Again, we can access the GIS information, which is directly connected to the BIM entities in the model. And here you see these clip shots, which allow me to jump from one session to another. So maybe we wanted to gather some information on this building here and understand more about the windows and the doors, or maybe the boilers inside this residential building. We want to see the characteristics of these boilers, or maybe we want to jump back to the document management system directly in the CDE, the usBIM CDE, and I don't know, for instance, we want to bring up the PDF of a energy performance certificate or other important information. Here we can see some important information regarding the metrics of this energy performance certificate that we can bring up, and it's all directly connected to the object. Just a final note, just to bring you what the true technology is capable of doing. In case, for instance, I know nothing about the models I'm talking about, this is the first time I've seen these buildings, I can use AI, artificial intelligence, and the usBIM GPT application, which is embedded inside, and start to query and input some prompts to understand more about these buildings. For instance, I ask, where is the bathroom in this building? How many different spaces are there? What is the intended use of these different rooms? And the GPT replies back, because it's capable of querying and understanding directly from the datasets contained within the BIM model and also in the GIS environment. And here, for instance, it's returning and highlighting where the bathrooms are at the different floor levels of this building. Maybe I want to know where the bathroom is because I don't know anything about these models, so I want to understand directly using AI. And you can see here that it's returning a highlighted view of where the bathroom is. And I can also locate, for instance, where is the largest bathroom. And this is just the final note, just showing a sunset over Milan. And thank you very much for your attention.